1993, a converted industrial workshop on the outskirts of Munich, Germany. A team of engineers rolls a steel chassis onto a test floor. 8 wheels, no turret, no fixed crew compartment, no permanent weapons station. Just a bare, armoured hull on 8 driven wheels, with a wide rectangular cavity where the back of the vehicle should be. It looked unfinished. It looked wrong. To any observer that morning, this was not a fighting vehicle. It was a frame, a skeleton. Half a machine waiting for someone to bolt the other half on. Officers who attended early trials called it an expensive solution to a problem nobody had clearly defined. Critics inside the British Ministry of Defence questioned whether any army genuinely needed a vehicle that could physically split in two on a roadside in under an hour. They were looking at the future of mechanised warfare. They just did not know it yet. That skeletal 8-wheeled frame would go on to serve in Afghanistan and Mali without losing a single crew member to enemy action, equip the armies of Germany, the Netherlands, Lithuania, Australia and Ukraine, attract contracts totaling more than €6 billion under its Programme Management Organisation alone, and become the most imitated armoured vehicle concept of its generation. It would be selected by Britain not once, but twice, after a 15-year detour through one of the most expensive procurement failures in British defence history. Its name is the Boxer, and it is the most ambitious modular armoured vehicle ever produced. To understand why the Boxer exists, you need to understand the problem facing Europe's armies in the early 1990s. The Cold War was over. NATO's tank-heavy divisions, designed to stop Soviet armour on the Central European plain, were suddenly the wrong answer for the world they found themselves in. Bosnia, Somalia, Kosovo. The conflicts of that decade demanded vehicles that were fast enough for rapid strategic deployment, protected enough to survive ambushes on broken mountain roads, and flexible enough to perform roles that shifted from week to week. Troop carrier 1 month, command post the next, casualty evacuation the month after. No single vehicle type could do all of it, and no Western army could afford to procure separate purpose-built platforms for each role. Germany and France recognised this in 1993 and launched a joint study for a next-generation wheeled armoured vehicle. 3 years later, in 1996, Britain joined as a full partner under the designation multi-role armoured vehicle. The Netherlands entered as observers. In April 1998, the winning industrial consortium was announced. A new organisation called Artec, established in Munich, brought together Krauss Maffei Wegmann and Rheinmetall from Germany, and Alvis Vickers from Britain as founding members. The concept they selected was radical. Rather than design different vehicles for different roles, they would design one vehicle that could become any vehicle. The same armoured chassis, the same 8-wheel drivetrain, but with the entire rear half of the vehicle, the complete crew compartment, built as a physically separate unit that could be lifted free and replaced with an entirely different unit in under an hour. It looked impossibly complicated. It looked like something that would fail the moment it crossed broken ground, struck an improvised explosive device, or was asked to perform under the pressure of actual combat. That was in 1993. Today, across combat deployments on 2 continents, no crew member has been killed inside a Boxer. Not in Afghanistan, not in Mali. Not anywhere. The vehicle itself is a masterpiece of structural engineering. The Boxer is built around 2 distinct physically separable halves. The front section, called the drive module, contains everything needed to move. The driver's station on the front right, the engine on the front left, all 8 independently suspended wheel stations, the fuel system, the brakes and steering, the collective protection system against chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats. The drive module weighs approximately 24 tons on its own and can travel independently without anything attached to its rear mounting frame. It is a complete self-propelled unit. The rear section, called the mission module, is an armoured pod, a sealed, self-contained compartment engineered to identical protection standards as the drive module. It has its own triple-layer blast-resistant floor, its own spall liner, its own seating or role-specific equipment. It attaches to the drive module at 4 standardised locking points, with electrical connections running through redundant bus ring structures and standardised interfaces for hydraulic, pneumatic and fluid systems. An internal hatch allows crew to move between driver's compartment and mission space without ever stepping outside the vehicle. Swapping a mission module takes approximately 30 minutes with a trained team and a mobile crane. Under field conditions with a purpose-built lifting frame, the process runs closer to 1 hour. The troop carrier module slides off. The ambulance module slides on. The vehicle that carried 8 armed soldiers into a contested zone becomes a protected field hospital, capable of treating 7 casualties on the move, with a ceiling height of 1.85 meters inside the medical compartment. Same hull, same engine, same 8 wheels, different vehicle entirely, No competitor achieves this. The American Stryker fields more than 10 dedicated variants, but converting one to another requires depot-level work and weeks in a maintenance facility. The Finnish Patria accepts different turrets and equipment packages, but has no separable pod. The French VBCI, which emerged when France left the Boxer program in 1999 to pursue its own national design, offers two core configurations with no field swap concept whatsoever. The Boxer remains the only production armoured vehicle in the world capable of genuine field executable pod swap modularity. No other vehicle comes close. Now, before we get into where this vehicle actually proved itself and what the combat record reveals, if you are getting value from this analysis of modern British military engineering, hit subscribe. It takes a second, costs nothing, and it keeps this channel producing exactly this kind of content. Back to the Boxer, and the decision that nearly finished it. In July 2003, the British Ministry of Defence withdrew from the programme entirely. The stated reason was a broader national procurement initiative called the Future Rapid Effect System, a proposed family of wheeled and tracked vehicles that promised to satisfy all of Britain's medium-weight armoured needs under a single integrated effort. Britain had already spent over £200 million on Boxer development work. It abandoned every penny of it. The Future Rapid Effect System collapsed. The Ajax programme, its tracked reconnaissance successor, became one of the most damaging armoured vehicle acquisitions in British military history, consuming over £6 billion, falling years behind schedule, and delivering vehicles so troubled by noise and vibration that crew members reported physical injuries from operating them. By early 2026, Ajax's initial operating capability declaration had been formally withdrawn after government ministers admitted they had not possessed the full picture when they originally announced it. Britain needed a wheeled infantry vehicle. It had needed one for well over a decade. In 2018, the Ministry of Defence quietly rejoined the very programme it had abandoned 15 years before. In November 2019, a contract worth £2.8 billion was signed for 523 Boxer vehicles. A further 100 were added in April 2022, bringing the total to 623 vehicles at approximately £3.4 billion. Those vehicles are being built in Britain. RBSL, a joint venture between Rheinmetall and BAE Systems established in 2019, manufactures command and specialist carrier variants at a facility in Telford that received £40 million in investment. It is the first armoured vehicle assembled there since the Warrior entered production in 1986. KNDS UK in Stockport handles infantry carriers and ambulances. The first British-manufactured Boxer was accepted by the British Army in August 2025. Soldiers from the 1st Battalion, Royal Regiment of Fusiliers, are now conducting live-fire training on Boxer infantry carriers, transitioning directly from the Warrior that same Telford facility once produced. The 623 vehicles span 11 distinct roles, 146 infantry carriers, 212 command posts, 200 specialist carriers, configured variously for battlefield engineering, reconnaissance, fire support, electronic warfare, and ground-based surveillance, 65 ambulances, all built to the latest A3 specification, powered by an MTU engine producing 600 kilowatts of output, giving the vehicle a top road speed of 103 kilometers per hour and a range of over 1,050 kilometers on a single tank of fuel. That range figure is roughly double what the Stryker achieves in operational service and significantly greater than the VBCI manages. Protection meets Stanag Level 4 all round, meaning the hull resists 14.5mm armour-piercing rounds and survives a 10-kilogram anti-tank mine detonation beneath any wheel station. Blast attenuating seats, fully decoupled from the vehicle floor, protect crew from underbelly explosions. Spall liners line every crew space. The Australian variant specifies level 6 protection on certain arcs, sufficient to defeat 30mm armour-piercing fin-stabilised discarding sabot rounds. The Boxer is not light. Combined weight ranges between 36.5 and 38.5 tonnes in the British configuration. It is substantially heavier than the 18-tonne Stryker and the 30-tonne Patria. It does not swim. The Patria is fully amphibious. The Boxer fords to a depth of 1.5 metres without preparation, and requires bridging or engineering support for deeper water crossings. These are genuine limitations. They are the deliberate consequence of prioritising crew survivability above strategic deployability. The combat record justifies that choice. In Germany's hands, the Boxer deployed to Afghanistan from August 2011, operating from Mazar-e-Sharif under ISAF command, across troop carrier, command post, and ambulance configurations. Vehicles struck improvised explosive devices. Vehicles drove through contested districts under direct and indirect fire. The A2 and A3 upgrade packages, which added enhanced mine protection floors and electronic countermeasure interfaces, emerged directly from Afghan operational experience. Then German and Dutch vehicles deployed to Mali under MIN-USMA, covering thousands of kilometers of some of the most demanding terrain and heat conditions on Earth. Through all of it, no crew fatality from enemy action. None. Germany's subsequent module orders reveal how completely the platform has outgrown its original purpose. The Skyranger 30 mounts a 30mm revolver cannon with programmable airburst ammunition and Stinger missiles, integrated with a Hensoldt radar providing full 360-degree tracking coverage. It is an air defense platform on the same chassis as a stretcher bay. The RCH-155 mounts a fully automated 155mm howitzer in a remotely operated turret with 360-degree traverse, extending the vehicle to over 10 meters in length. The Shackle mounts a 30mm infantry fighting vehicle turret capable of engaging armoured targets and defeating drone swarms. All three swap through the same 4 mounting points in under an hour, and as of July 2025, Germany is reportedly preparing to order up to 3,000 additional Boxers as part of Chancellor Merz's stated ambition to build the most capable conventional land force in Europe across 7 nations. More than 2,000 Boxer vehicles are now under contract. Australia selected it for 211 combat reconnaissance vehicles in a program valued at 15.7 billion Australian dollars over 30 years, and is producing vehicles locally in Queensland. Lithuania fields 91 Vilkas infantry fighting vehicle variants, armed with 30mm Bushmaster cannons and Spike anti-tank missiles, within its Iron Wolf mechanised infantry brigade facing Russia across the border. Ukraine received 9 Boxer RCT-30 vehicles in January 2025, configured as counter-drone escort platforms assigned to protect artillery units on the front line. On paper, the Boxer looked compromised from the beginning, too heavy for rapid air deployment, too complex for field maintenance, too dependent on crane equipment for its central advantage to deliver in real-world conditions. Britain famously walked away from it in 2003 and spent the following 15 years paying that decision back through failed programs, capability gaps, and wasted billions, and yet it worked. In Mazar-e-Sharif under Taliban indirect fire, in the Mali desert under temperatures that disabled lighter vehicles, on training ranges in Telford where British soldiers are learning to fight in a vehicle designed in Munich in a decade when the Cold War had just ended. No crew fatalities in combat, no catastrophic module failure in the field, no fundamental failure of the concept under the one test that matters, which is operational proof. The idea was this: stop engineering one platform for every role, build one platform that can become any platform, give it the protection to absorb the worst the battlefield delivers, give it the range to operate without constant resupply, give it the engine to move at speed, then let the mission module solve the rest. 623 vehicles are entering British Army service. The first soldiers are already training. The facility that built Warriors in 1986 is building Boxers now. The vehicle that splits in two is putting British mechanised infantry back together.